So good morning everyone, welcome to Satsang. Just reminding you that we use WhatsApp as a means of communication. The number appears on the comments and you can send your questions directly to me. It's easier, it's more private than the chats, so you can ask your questions keeping your privacy, and that is good for everyone. So let's make some silence first. Nothing worthwhile. Whatever appears to manifest on my inner space of perception is just distraction. It is the origin of distraction, and it leads to countless investments. Giving up, giving up, of dreams, expectations, necessities, will wipe all fears, all noise, giving rise to absolute stillness. Whatever appears there, don't follow it. Remain silent, remain still. So today I'm going to speak a little bit about renunciation. Renunciation as the basis of the last part of the quest of dissolution, self-realization. To renounce, what does this mean? Well, you have different types of renunciation. But renunciation basically is to abandon, is not wanting anymore experiences, the continuation of human life or any other sorts of life, any manifestation But renunciation, in this case, it doesn't come alone, because it is coupled with aspiration for the divine, aspiration for self-realization. Because if it's just renunciation, renouncing life, in that sense, without divine aspiration, it becomes like it's a death-like experience. It's like moving towards unconsciousness. But renunciation with divine aspiration, that is moving from consciousness to superconsciousness, it is quite different. Many people don't have the desire to live, they don't enjoy life, they see it as meaningless, and still that doesn't mean that they are seekers of truth. Because when the time comes, that aspiration is not there, not strong enough. It can be a little bit, but usually they choose other things. Alienation. This word in English, alienation, yes. So, renunciation has become a little bit taboo subject in spirituality these days. That is simple, because spirituality has become big market, and the consumers, they are demanding in nature, and they don't like certain things, they prefer others, they prefer everything which is suitable to their still worldly aspirations, masqueraded as spiritual. And of course, a lot of theories protecting these things. So more and more the literature favors this market, this consumer's market, so that the product which is in the need gets received. But it doesn't matter how many centuries, millenniums pass, the science of liberation, it is the same. Just little changes in circumstances, but the same. So renunciation in this context means letting go of future experiences. Stop ensuring the future, coupled with divine aspiration. It is a transition from that which is small, individualized, to wholeness. And that is the basis. It's not the goal. It's not something that will bring directly, immediately, but it is the conditions that are suitable for the life in the process to begin, for the steps, the stages to unfold. Without it, there's no real basis. Because if you're taking care of your life, aspiring this, trying to experience that, what is the point? When I say the basis, they reveal your true motivations. They reveal what you're standing for, what you're aspiring to, really. Not what you think you're aspiring. Because if you're taking care of your security, for example, so where is surrender into this question? Surrendering to the divine, giving yourself fully to the divine. The idea is beautiful, but for the individual, this means letting go of control, letting go of personal desires, personal will, letting go of choice. But if you don't live in renunciation, if you're still protected directly or indirectly, if things are under your control, how will you know surrender? And I know this is a very common practice amongst seekers. Oh, I surrender. So you take care of your life and you do the efforts to keep you safe and prosper, and to take care of your emotional needs, physical needs, and all of that, but I surrender. How will you know what surrender is? You may think you know, but you don't. Conditions are not there. It's like a survivalist. He will only know how prepared he is in the right circumstances. But if they are prearranged in a way that he knows his security is on the other side, all help he needs is there, he just has to reach his hand. He will not know it. The conditions are missing. Simplicity, humility, devotion, that comes from both. Surrender. All these are the fruits of renunciation. Real renunciation. Of course, this big market swallowed more or less spirituality and, how do you say this, and wellness, and it brings psychology and spirituality together in a nice dance that they seem they're talking about the same thing, but they're not. Because one is about transcending the personality as a product of an environment that has the specific purpose of functioning in a society, of belonging, being a part, finding meaning in what is called illusion. Spirituality is about transcending this personality, transcending the purpose. So one is to function properly in these circumstances. The other one is about transcending circumstances. They are different. So one is about independence of that personality. Well, the other is about independence also, but it is a different independence. It is real independence, because it's not independence if you can take care of yourself, if you have all that you need, if you can guarantee that you'll be fine and all of this. That means your necessities, control is there, everything is being met. The other type of independence is an independence where you are free from the necessities that arise, from the need to be in control, from the need to have a purpose. It is quite different. And in the process of doing so, all fears that haunt you, that make you, compel you to invest, they will have to be burned. You will have to outgrow them. As you are in control of your life, as you are exercising control, choice, it won't go deep enough. It will be superficial. The level of attention you will have will be very small. All the rest that you imagine is just fairy tales. I hear this a lot. Seekers doing a completely worldly life, but behaving like almost sages or already transcendental beings, and saying, "Oh, this doesn't conflict in no sense, and this is just delusion." Well, that is a good marriage, taking care of my life and evolving spiritually. So they think it's a good marriage, but it isn't. It's just wasting time. Most will continue like that. Very few will be able to question what they're really living, because there is dependency on that lie. because you're taking care of the little things and convinced that you are aspiring for the divine. Some, because there are others that don't even put this divine into question. It's not a part of the equation. So more and more literature is coming in that sense. Oh, no need to do anything of that. No sacrifices, no renunciation, nothing. You just have to love. Sometimes there's this simplicity, humility, devotion, surrender. Renunciation is the circumstance that allows for real spirituality. And I don't use this term in general because that general doesn't mean anything. It is the process of awakening, of self-realization. As it becomes serious. For those who are in the quest for freedom, understand, it is 24/7. There's no room for anything else. And even like this, it is difficult. But at that level of commitment, those lies don't support itself. They do not support themselves. Because the level of observation is too intense. The level of distraction is very reduced. Life force is concentrated, dedicated. It's not being wasted, taking care of that which is taken care by itself. Whatever that means. Renunciation, it's about also renouncing circumstances, preferred circumstances, likes, dislikes. Holding on to the divine, it doesn't mean that, oh, Almighty Being, I being your servant, devoted to you, you will grant me all the desires I want. The security, the minimums that I imagine to be what it is needed, has nothing to do with that. Is being with God, being with the divine, not because of its glories, but because of itself. Understanding that circumstances, no matter how I've imagined them of being bad, cataclysmic, wrong, whatever, these are just my judgments, fruits of my ignorance. So I embrace everything as a teaching from God, from the divine. understanding that whatever I'm embracing as difficulty, it is coming to release me from my own ignorance. And the one who is not too busy judging and preferring, choosing, observes, reflects, and sees. So you have worldly life, the first life the majority knows. All know, because even if those who are raised, get birth in a spiritual environment, they tend to see it as worldly because it's normal. It becomes a part of the character's life. So for all, it is the first life they know. Transitioning, a transition of the goals, the orientation of this character. Usually it will mean a complete shift in direction in life. So if you're adapting your life, inserting spirituality into the context you are following, so that means the biggest motivations, worldly motivations, are still at the forefront. It is a very different direction. And of course, these words are not for everybody. So it is what it is. And for the one who is not thirsty for liberation, and I don't mean greed for liberation, I mean thirsty for liberation, they can more or less be similar experiences, but the thirst for liberation is the one that continues. The greed for liberation, it doesn't sustain renunciation. Because the one who is greedy walks his path with greed. He is there for the gains, not for the losses. So either it transforms, because many share this, either it transforms and it starts losing, or it gives up. There's actually no losing, but that's another side issue, but it appears to be so. So no matter what brings you to the quest for truth, to continue, it will have to change. The renunciant has no assurances, no protection, no guarantees of anything. And apart from liberation, he has burned all his desires. It's not that he was absent in desires, absent of fears. He walked through the fire by renunciation. He burned all of these. So evaluate the direction that your life is heading. Are you seeing the hands of God everywhere? Or are you the hands of God? That means, is the divine taking care of what you call your life? Or are you taking care of it with the excuse that it is through you? Do you see liberation at all costs? Or do you see liberation in just certain conditions? Is there limits where you can go, what you can do for liberation's sake? Or are there boundaries that you will not cross, that you wouldn't cross? All of these questions, they can reveal to you at which level are you. And the question is, it's not supposed to be easy. It is supposed to be glorious. It is different. And it is supposed to be real. And the thing is, when it is said that it is easy, everyone is saying it's easy, but where are the fruits of that? Well, because in the old days, it was difficult, involved a lot of sacrifices. These days is very easy. Nothing of that is needed. It's quite easy. So where are the awakened ones with that vision? At least two-thirds of the seekers should be enlightened already. And the other one-third, it's because, well, their intelligence is not that good, because it is quite easy. They haven't grasped it. But at least two-thirds should, because it is so easy that you don't even to be very intelligent for it. But that is not the case. And seekers are repeating this as mantras. Oh, it's very easy. You just have to, and you just have to, and you just have to. Everybody says, what is there to be done? But where's enlightenment? Where is that easy enlightenment? And with so many enlightened people, well, how would there be room for so much evil in the world, whatever that means? The vibration should be so intense that the earth would look like the sun. So it is all just nice words in the available literatures, in the modern commentators. Nice words to justify the lifestyle of those who are writing them, making the comments, and to justify the others, which had potential for seekers of truth, but are compromised, weakened by worldly desires, by the desire to experience all these things. So instead of using worldly desires as fuel, as wood to make that fire, they are using them to burn their time. And others also, because you are writing all those things to justify your own lifestyle, but you are compromising others. Renunciation is like water to a fish. It is the basis, the circumstances which are needed for the real spiritual work to happen. Or else it doesn't have any real substance. And in that renunciation, intensity will arise, and that is where the real work happens. And if you have doubts about this, well, I can only guarantee you that you are the living proof of these words. And if you have the time and the courage to evaluate, to introspect enough, you will see the lies. Because they are there. And if by any chance, because this is what usually underlies that vision of being a transcendental being, completely immersed in a worldly life, that you are different, more evolved, have transcended all of that, it doesn't apply to you. Well, my friend, that means that humility is abundant. And the ultimate measure for all of this is direct guidance there? Are you doing what the divine is telling you, what God is telling you, and not what your wants and desires? This is the ultimate way to evaluate. If guidance is not there, or if there's something that you interpret as guidance, it means the same. So that means your desires are guiding. And you're being played. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It can, but it doesn't necessarily, whatever that means. It's just you're distracted. Okay, so that's it for today. If there's any questions about this or anything else, you can send whenever you watch this, and it will be answered in the next satsang. Until then, use your time to reflect. Don't go into conclusions. Don't jump into conclusions. Understand that self-deception is a very big power of illusion, but with time, patience, observation, honesty, and the will to see, you can have a glimpse beyond that which you want to see, and be able to see what it is, or at least what it isn't. Okay, till then, make the best use of your time. So the next satsang will be, today's Saturday. Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning, Brazilian time, UTC -3. Okay, watch.